Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing the daily rapid arena on Lichess. In this game I am black, it's already been going on a good while, and I will show the beginning of it and the end right when my opponent has resigned, I expect, or if they're still thinking in a few seconds. This move may look suspicious or mysterious. May not look very good for black, and I agree, but I'm mostly just trying to get to an ending like this one, and my opponent should resign any moment. So the game is a Sicilian, with the old knight c6 variation being chosen, or the classical Sicilian I should call it. It's not yet been sort of superseded entirely by d6. And here I go for the e5 variation, where white takes me instead of playing knight b3, so it's easier for black to play d5. So first I pin, with the idea queen a5, possibly queen c7 is also okay, but rook b8 is good and castling kingside is the plan. But after a3 I can grab this pawn, attacking the queen and the pinned knight, then exchange pieces and guard my knight with d5. So things were already looking good. White developed, so did I, with a attack on the queen coming up, and white did not respond that well because knight g3 defends my bishop, attacks the queen and the rook, so it's a double attack. Queen ran away, I grabbed the rook, then discovered attack on my knight, but then I got to break with d4, opening up their king. And after the trade of pawns and then the trade of minor pieces, their king is really weak, so I simply castled, getting ready for a mating attack. Then brought my rooks and my queen into the game with checks on the white king. Then activated my last piece, and after queen f1 I saw it was very easy to just trade all the pieces and then give up my rook for bishop, just so that there'll be no white pieces left other than pawns. And I'll be a bishop up, so should have an easy win from here. King d4 has now been played. King in the centre is the plan. I'm going to go c5 next move. I don't think it matters what white plays. Let's play c5. So my plan is to play king d5. I'm still not sure why white is playing this on, but fair enough. Bishop e6 again I think is almost certainly going to be played no matter what they do, and it has been. Then king d5 will be played next. White will answer by moving pawns, I assume. c4, so I've got my pawn activated. King active. Bishop is not yet doing a great job, but it is stopping all of white's pawns from having light squares to be on. Alright, let's just run them out of moves with h5. Plan is to do king d4, c3, and just push my c-pawn up the board, winning the game. And with over 5 minutes on my clock, I do not think this will be a problem. The bishop can also help out. It's controlling c2, which is a useful bonus. Yes, bishop f5 check. King b3, I can simply go king d3 and then push the pawn. And if any other move, I think king d3 still wins instantly. So let's do this. King will be forced to go to d1, or possibly king b1 is king b1 is no good, but a4 is a move as well. Again, not really sure what this achieves. I'll play a5, running them out of moves. I'll pre-move king d2 if they play their king to the wrong place, but no, they played the right move. Then I could even play king c3? g4, pawn takes, h5, g3, h6, g2, and I win anyway, yeah. So this will still win the game for me by a single tempo. It may not be the most accurate way of finishing the game, but it's definitely easy enough. I could even promote to a bishop and then go bishop e3 mate, but let's keep things simple. Whatever white does, I'll promote to a queen, unless they resign. Or unless they spend 2 minutes and 55 seconds waiting for the game to be over, where they lose on time. Either way, unless something terrible happens, I'll win. And I have done. Alright, so that was game number 1 against the 1700. Not the most difficult game I've played. But then again, it was about a 700 point difference in the ratings, so I shouldn't be too surprised. I'm somewhere around 110th, having played one game. Oh, 121st out of 715. So that means, what's that as a percentage? That's about top 15% roughly. Just outside it, like top 20%. I should be paired any moment. There's 84 spectators now. You assume a few of those will be anonymous accounts or people simply watching the event go by, but I think at least half will be players who have not been paired in the last few minutes, and it's creeping up. 94 spectators now. So they're trying to work out who I play, and I've got another 1700. I won't berserk this time. I think for this video and this tournament I will play all my games with the time allotted, 10 minutes each. And another Sicilian. This time they're playing the d6 kind of main line Sicilian now. I played the knight c3 variation. a6 is a move, but no, they played g6. When I played Nigel Shaw's in a Simmel years ago, he played bishop e2 against me, I believe, in this position. It's not as ambitious as some other moves, but it definitely has its merits. Bishop e3 is a nice trick, though. I'm going to play bishop e3. If knight g4, the Yugoslav, it doesn't work here because bishop b5 check is actually winning for white. So I'm hoping they do that, hoping they play knight g4. If they don't play it, maybe f3 is good for me, because then I can play g4 and such. Although there is a part of me that likes the castle kingside in these positions, simply because... Okay, they played the right move. Yeah, I'll play f3 and decide what to do. So I can go into the sort of main line, very attacking variations with g4, or I can play like bishop e2 castles. Okay, this time round I'll play g4. But what you may notice is I'm not castling queenside yet, because all that stuff is like mainline theory now. And black actually does get some initiative. It's very awkward for me. Queen c8's now been played. I assume there's some kind of sacrifice on g4 that I don't know about. Okay, very well. If they want to sack on g4, so be it. I'll win a piece for a couple of pawns and still, I think, have a slight edge. After h5, I'm thinking I can play g5, attacking the knight, forcing it back, then taking on h5 with the rook. And yeah, they've played that move. Makes sense. Take this pawn. I'm hoping they play f takes, because then bishop c4 check comes with a tempo. It's possible they have d5, but the whole thing looks very, very difficult for black. Oh, and here it's already, I think it's already close to being lost. But I don't yet see the win. So what I'll do, just to make sure everything is safe, I'll play bishop b3. That way there's no chance of their queen capturing on c4 with winning a piece. Their king looks very weak. g5 is a move I'm tempted to play very soon. Okay, and I think if I do queen takes, that leads to unnecessary complications. Alright, perfect. e5 means their d6 pawn's weak, d5 square is weak. g5 looks interesting for me coming up. Also, queen d2, then bishop h6 looks good as well. So, oh wow, knight g8. That's a move, I suppose. I'm not sure I can resist. I will capture, because g6 is also weak, as the h7 pawn is pinned. They cannot capture my queen if I take on g6, possibly leading to mate. All right, let's go for it. I don't see any checks. Don't see anything else weird, so let's go for it. Queen takes. And if bishop to h5, I think I can play queen h5. So bishop h3, I mean. Bishop h3, I play queen h5. And then I'm attacking the bishop twice, and if they move it, checkmate on h7. Knight h6 has been played. I'm wondering if I can play... rook takes knight. The bishop takes, and I can take on h6 with the queen, possibly. Or can I take on h6 is the interesting one, though. If I take on h6 with the bishop, then they take my queen. Then I can do discovered check with bishop e5, but then there's bishop h3, which kills the play. Yeah, shame. So rook takes h6 definitely looks like a move, but there is also queen g5, which makes things possibly a little bit simpler. But then bishop takes f3, and it's a little awkward. So maybe I take this first. And then bishop takes h6 will be played, I think. Yeah, bishop h6. Queen takes h6 to me looks obvious, but then again, I've been wrong before. Let's go for it, take it. So I've got two minor pieces for the rook. Then I'm assuming bishop takes f3 will be the move, because no, rook takes f3. Huh, all right, rook takes f3 then. I mean, it makes sense to play this, although there is some sort. I don't have a kind of feeling that's not right. I think I can get away with this move. It gets my king very safe. My rook is now on the d file. I have some mating threats, potentially. And even if rook takes e3, which has just been played, which I assumed would be, it doesn't work because of queen f6 checkmate. So my knight on c3 was actually almost superfluous the whole game, but it was there as backup if I needed it. All right, 4 points, 2 wins, 57 out of, or 58 out of 81, or 80, so 810, I mean, or 820. So that's top 10%. It's about top 8% of players. Okay, and I've got a player who's around 2,000 strength. That's black. My guess would be e4 again. All right, well I'll play the cowardly c-pawn moving. Caro-Kann. No, playing the main line. All right. Let's do I think it's the Karpov variation, knight d7. There's the cheap trick with queen e2, knight d6, which my opponent has mercifully not done, because I wouldn't usually fall for that. If knight takes, I'll take back with the knight. You can take with a pawn to double yourself up, and then quickly get the bishops out, but I like this good structure that I can create. Now, if bishop f5, I want to say that is a move, and it gets my bishop outside the pawn chain, so let's do it. Bishop g4 is not as good though, because bishop takes f7, king takes, knight e5 would then attack the bishop on g4 and the king on f7. Now e6, making sure that they can't play d5, or at least it's discouraged. And then I think bishop e7 and castles will be a pretty safe way to get out of my opening with a slight edge for white, but overall level position. Rook e1, yeah, so d5 is a move they may want to try. So bishop e7 is a way to not have my e-pawn being pinned. So it prevents d5 again. And also develops the piece and allows castling kingside. I want to generally castle the same side as white in the Caro-Kann, because white can usually castle one side, then pawn storm on the other side. If my king is caught in the crossfire, then that usually is not good news for black, because they're a little bit slower to finish development and organise the forces in the middle game. So I need those extra couple of moves. Here there's queen c7, which might be an option for me, but I think I need to castle first and then start the plan. But there are some openings where you don't castle for a bit and then you do your plan first, like in that last game when I did the attack on the enemy king and then castled eventually. Alright, bishop e3, I'm not totally sure about that move, because, to be honest, the bishop looks like a large pawn. I think castling will still be correct, though. And the thing is, if I take their bishop on e3 with a knight, they take back with the f-pawn, turning it into an e-pawn, a central pawn, and then white's space in the centre will actually counteract my two bishops. So there's no reason for me to play like knight g4 takes bishop. Just checking the video's recording, it appears to be. Right, so What else could they play? Does bishop g5 rerouting bishop to then line up with all these pieces? There's queen moving to, say, d2, which would connect the white rooks. I think my plan will be to put a rook on the d file, because then it can aim at the pawn and also, by extension, the queen. Knight e5 has been played. Where to put my pieces? I can go knight d5, which will be an active move. White could be trying to play g4, which is one of those moves that I've never really considered to be that good. I think what I'm going to... Oh, if I go queen b6, there are traps with g4 and then g5. But white goes knight d7, and I go queen b6. First having moved their g-pawn to get my knight out of the way, and then moving it there. Also, queen b6, there is d5, so I'll forget that move. And queen c7 is bishop f4, which would then line up with my queen and cause me problems. So I think I will actually play queen to a5, where my queen is more active now, and also I've got the potential to play, maybe rook a d8 is correct, just to avoid any knight takes f7s with devastating combinations on my king. Queen e2 looks like a sensible move for white. There is also bishop d2, where I can then maybe drop back with queen c7, and then bishop f4, queen a5, or even knight d5 actually would also work. I'm hoping white does something silly like queen d2, and I can trade queens and take on c2 with the bishop, winning a pawn. I don't really think that will happen, but there's always hope. What else can I do here? If some move like h3, I suppose the choices are knight d5, rook a d8, c5 is another move, and there is an outside chance that I can play things like bishop e4 to d5, trying to trade light squared bishops as well. But I don't really like that maneuver with my bishop. It feels too slow. It's not improving the worst piece. Okay, g4 has been played. So bishop to e4 or bishop to g5, g6. I mean, I want to play bishop g6. Okay, if they take the bishop, fine. It's not a disaster if I end up losing the bishop pair. Okay, h5 has been played. This is an attempt at playing... That's h4, I mean. An attempt to play h5, and then it would double my pawns and stuff. Okay, it's a slightly annoying variation, this move. I do always have bishop e4, though. Maybe I even play it now, and I provoked the h-pawn to move. Yeah, it's an interesting line. If they go g5 first, I have bishop h5. So maybe this is okay, rook a d8. Just improving my pieces. And then if g5, bishop h5, pawn takes knight, bishop takes queen, pawn takes bishop, then interestingly I'd lose 3 pieces for a queen, one of which would be a rook. So that would be interesting to see what happens after that. But if I'm a bit too scared, I can always play knight d7, which should be generally okay for me. I suppose a scary move might be something like f3, which would prevent bishop e4, and then my bishop really is getting trapped. Okay, h5 has been chosen, so bishop e4 is practically forced. I nearly have a few tactics, but I don't think they work yet. I was looking at queen takes knight on e5, and then when they take my queen back, I take their queen. But they would get my rook, which had just captured their queen, and I'd only got a knight back, so I'd lose the exchange. These 4 pieces would all have left the board, so I'm worse off in that scenario. Now for f3, bishop d5, bishop d3 would threat c4, but no, they've gone for it. They're going for this. Alright, now knight d7. I do not want that knight alive. It's too strong. If I can remove it from e5, then I think that's a moral victory, if not a tangible one yet. And if f3, I'll capture the knight. And then I'm also aiming at the bishop on c4. So this knight d7 I think is a critical move. Of course, knight takes f7 is the move which I am most scared of, I suppose. But I'm not that unhappy with it. Even if I drop the exchange, I think I still have some chances here. And by exchange, I mean drop the rook for a couple of minor pieces. So, for example, oh, knight d7 has been played. Okay. Not much else I can do, so rook takes. Bishop moves. Queen f5, I think, is forced. Queen f5. Now, f3 might be strong. But their king is so weak that this just doesn't feel right for them to have anything. I mean, look at their king. It's embarrassed, that king. I haven't yet developed all my pieces, but I've got everything, that could be of utility to me. The only bad piece, really, is the f8 rook, which I can put on d8. Okay, and g6 has been played. Wow, this looks like there should be a mate coming up, but I don't yet see it. However, I can guess at it. Bishop f3. If they take a pawn, I don't care. I'll just move the king to h8. And I'm okay. All right. Well, they're letting me mate them. That's generous. Check. And then no matter what they do, queen g2 mate. So I've outplayed them in the middle game, to be honest. But I was a bit scared of them, to be honest, if I'm being real. I was a little scary there. I don't really like the Caro-Kann that much. I should really learn more theory so that I don't get into those positions where it could go either way. Alright, number 38 now. I'm slowly moving up. Still, there's a lot of 1900s and a couple of 2000s around my score. So I could easily be playing someone of about the same standard as the last game. Nearly 1,000 players, and I'm top 40, so that means I'm about top 4% of the players. Alright, yes, and another 2,000. Okay, Queen's Pawn opening. Let's see. I think they're doing the England Gambit. That's always fun. No, they're not doing the England Gambit. They're just giving me a pawn. Alright, I will not be rude. I will take the pawn. See what they have prepared. So, I don't really like these sort of things for these kind of gambits, because they never really feel like they should work. So here, bishop e2 looks very sensible for white. The queen moves. Now, I could simply give them back the pawn. That's what I'm thinking. Just give it back, and then you know what they're going to do. h3 is also a move, though. Let's see, h3, bishop h5. I mean, there is g4. It feels a little wrong, but maybe it's a move. Yeah, and bishop e3, queen takes. Queen takes, knight bd2. Yeah, I feel like I'm not quite getting active enough. Maybe this is a line. Again, it sort of feels like it shouldn't be a line. Queen d3, is that a move? Queen d3, then I don't know, something. Yeah, I don't know this line at all. Actually, I should maybe this gambit isn't absolutely awful. It's very strange. All right, well, okay, I don't know, knight c3. I mean, what else? Then I'm assuming castles, right? And the idea is to play bishop takes h2 check if I castle kingside. So forget that. Bishop g5 might be a move. And then knight f6. I don't know, they're developing. Okay, let's just say bishop e3. What can they do? Yeah, knight f6. Possibly knight d4. There is h3, but it feels just a little bit inaccurate. I think I'm going to have to give them back the pawn in a lot of these variations. But I can damage their pawn structure and possibly get a little bit of an edge. I'm going to have to research this after the game, or after the video. Because black does appear to have something there. Again, it can't be right. I mean, that kind of gambit, giving up 2 central pawns for like 1 tempo, doesn't feel like it should be right. But probably e4 is a mistake, because it's a slightly loose pawn. I was thinking that I could gain the centre with e4. But possibly white has to be a bit more restrained with sort of e3 and then do the same sort of thing. Yeah, bishop takes bishop naturally. And then can I play knight takes c6? That's what I'm wondering. That's what I'm wondering. Knight c6. Let's go for it. Because the material is equal at this exact moment. And, okay, pawn takes, yeah, naturally. Now queen takes, clearly, has to be played. And I can get a7 if I want to. And also I can play queen a6. So if knight takes pawn... Oh, there's also queen g4 check as well, which would also put them in a terrible position. And they played king b7, preventing me from winning the pawn. So do I keep the pawn with f3 or do I castle? I mean, I don't know. I'm just going to play f3. It doesn't look dreadful. How will black respond? Rook h to e8 looks like a kind of move which would make sense, because then my e-pawn is essentially pinned to the bishop, and that way they can play like knight d5 and stuff. Now I think the time is right to develop with castles. Yeah, very strange position. To be honest, I'm not sure I like this as black, because even with 0 preparation, I'm still able to get a position which looks pretty good. Can I play rook d4 to a4 and then queen h6? It also allows me to play rook h d1, not only giving me good development of my pieces, pinning their bishop and going for the king side, well, the queen side, but going for the black king, which is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, this move I did not see. Knight d5. So pawn takes, queen takes, bishop, queen takes, rook takes, pawn takes c6. It doesn't feel like I'm getting anything for that. I'm still a pawn up, but that's the most that can be said. What's wrong with knight takes? Pawn takes, queen b5, then something. I'm getting an attack, so why not? Hack it off. I could even play rook a4 first, though. Let's go for it. Let's go rook a4 first. This looks devastating. The a7 pawn drops, queen b5's on the horizons, and also rook d1 is also the backup move, and c5 has been played. No fear at all. It's maybe a bit unwise playing this. King over there. Okay, we'll keep checking with queen here, as long as I don't blunder with bishop c5. That would be a huge mistake. Bishop c5, bishop f4 check, and I'd lose the queen. How do I win this? There's rook d1, but that feels too slow. I think they can play, I don't know, bishop somewhere. Bishop c7 maybe holds it. I feel like this should be a win. I mean, maybe not. Maybe it's fine. Here we go. Rook a5, so I can play rook b5 check. And then, what on earth are they going to do? Rook e7 and rook d7 just don't work. I play rook b5 and mate them. a6, I take it with the rook. Bishop c6. e7... Oh, I can check. If king... Okay, well, if king c8 had another move, but they have allowed me bishop f4 check, and unfortunately for them, they're going to lose all their pieces. So this looks like it's over. And, yeah, resigns. Okay, gained a point. Good for me. Where am I now? I seem to be like number 19 out of just about 1,050 players. So that's 10% is 100, and then 1% is about 10 players or 11 players. So I'm nearly in the top 1%, and here I've got a 2200 level player, to be honest. And berserking as well, they're very confident with e4, so I'll play my French, parlez-vous français, knight c3, Rubinstein, knight f6. Bishop g5, yes, okay, alright, fine. If they want to do this, they'll do it. Knight b7, go into the French Steinitz. Then knight f6 is pretty common. This time I'll do bishop f6, because this way I get my queen out, and then h6 to force the bishop somewhere. I don't want it on the board. Queen takes, and if I can play... Can I play it here? Maybe I can. b6. And then bishop b7. And to be honest, I'm gonna be careful. Castle on the queen side. Then king b8 to simply get my king somewhere nice and safe. And this is a kind of almost Caro-Kann type position, but where I've got a good bishop. If I can trade queens, that's ideal for me, but it's not like absolutely necessary to play this. Alright, rook h e8, I'm going e5, fighting in the center of the board. If they go d5, then I've got knight c5 if I need to. Rook g3 is the kind of move I would expect here, but if they play knight to e5, that would lead to lots of trading off. They may want to play knight d2 and then try bishop f3 to trade off the bishops. But no, rook g3 has been played. Now, e5, pawn takes e5, knight takes e5, rook takes d8 check, queen takes d8, knight takes e5, f6, knight f7, rook takes, yeah, it appears to keep my material equal. I want to say. I mean, I'm possibly wrong, but I feel like this is the move which I need to play. Yeah, and if knight takes knight first, then I take their rook. But no, they've taken me first. So queen takes is the critical move, and then f6 is the key move to play. Breaking my rule, never play f6. Alright, so now they are a knight up, but they're about to lose it. Rook takes g7 is the move that I'm expecting, but no, they have instead opted for f4, holding on to their central pawn, but then losing the not-so-central pawn, the wing pawn. So if it was a king and pawn ending, it would be a win for me, because I would have h and g, the outside pawns, against the central e-pawn, and my king can catch the e-pawn before their king can get over to my extra h-pawn. But we're not in the ending yet. If rook takes g7, by the way, instant loss, queen e1 check, wins the queen. So, yeah, nice good move. I can play g5, but that looks a tad dull to play that move. Bishop takes g2 is not really what I'd be thinking. Queen a1, h1, king b2, bishop takes pawn. I don't know, it looks really suspicious after rook takes bishop, queen takes, then bishop f3. And I'm dicing with checkmates there. Alright, so what to improve? My queen's a little bit offside, so perhaps playing simple, queen e7 is the best way to play. I've got queen a3 check as a potential threat in the future, defending my g-pawn and going after the e-pawn. There's no way I can see for white to actually save the e-pawn, so it may be a trade of pawns that we're going for. Where then I would be, I don't know, I'd be quietly confident that I could have a superior position. Ah, I didn't see that move. Bishop there, yes. Yes, that is a move. So, rook d8 looks to me like the right move. g6, bishop takes, I don't like it. So rook d8, improving my position a little bit. The tactic is queen a3, which I believe should be pretty obvious. But there's always a chance. And I still have rook to d5. In fact, rook f8 might have been a tiny bit better, because then I could have played rook f5. But, ooh, they're really giving me chances now. Bishop takes first, because this will potentially let them lose if they play rook takes, or pawn takes. But they played the right move, queen takes. Now, queen takes e5, winning a pawn. And I'm also going for mates. Now I can trade. That's the interesting bit. I can trade off going into a queen and pawn ending. Do I want to? Do I want to trade the rook for the queen? Oh. I feel like the answer's no, I don't want to. But then again, it's an ending where I can only win that ending. I can't really lose it. And I don't believe... Yeah, I'm going to go for it. So, rook to d1. Check. Queen takes his force, no other move. And grab the rook. Queen d8 check, king b7, queen d5, c6, and then my queen can block checks on c7 if they check me again. And also guarding my g-pawn. So success, hooray. Now, I just need to make sure my queen is nice, centralized, doing its job. If I move too many pawns, things could get ugly. So the first thing to do is set up my structure. I think first off I'm going to do a check, so see if I can get to e5 with tempo. I can, e5 check, tempo gaining. Right, that's good. And then maybe just king c7. That will avoid checks on d7 for white. Queen g6, that move. To me, I don't really see what it does, but okay, maybe there is something mysterious going on. Queen g5, I'm not so sure I like. So first I'll play queen f6. Checking me, okay. Back to b7, so there's no more checks. Alright, so queen there. Okay, queen e6. Still centralizing the queen. I need to move a pawn fairly soon, though, otherwise things could go badly. Queen g4. I'm aiming at the pawn. I'm going to do queen g8 as my guess. No, queen d3, that's a better move, to be honest. Right, so is it a draw if I take them? Quite possibly it is. So, queen takes pawn, queen d7, king b8, queen d8, etc. So queen d7, king a6, queen check on d3. It looks too dangerous to me. I don't like this. Oh wait, I've just blundered, haven't I? Because queen h7 is now a move. Oh dear, that's silly of me. Alright, king c8. See which pawn they capture. Taking on h6 looks to me to be a little bit better, but we'll soon find out. They've got a minute left as well, so it's not that easy to play this kind of ending. Okay. Queen c7 possibly? Right. So now queen d6. I'm letting them have that pawn. then again, I don't really want to draw, to be honest. And they've only got a few seconds. So, okay, so centralize the queen. Make sure I'm not throwing away everything. I've still got an active king. If I can bring the king to the right place, then possibly I can still win. So g4, just make sure the pawn is guarded for the future. I've got the a pawn is my only weakness right now. Ooh, that's a dangerous move. Okay. If queen d4, queen takes, king d2, c5, check, king e4, king over. Ooh, it might be. Okay, it might be enough for them. Ooh, and they're still attempting to do something. So I'm gonna go check and try and. Oh, it's so close. I can nearly win it. Okay, king e5, stopping the checks. They've got 30 seconds, which is again not that helpful for them. If they move their queen off the back rank like this, I can check and then take the pawn. The only obstacle in my way is the huge amount of checks that are about to be delivered to me. So I'll need to find good hiding places. But no, they resigned with 17 seconds. That's a good win. I think I messed up a bit near the end, but I was able to use my time to the advantage. All right, 16 points, not bad. I think video's been going nearly an hour, I want to say, so I may make this the last game, and then I will leave, unless there's no pairing in the next minute or so. 12th out place, so I'm in the top 1% of players, because there are now over 1,200 playing in this tournament. So we've got 2,400 on 11th, I mean. No, 13th, 2,100. All right, 2,150 roughly. So let's see. They've gone c4. I'll see what they do with knight f6. And see if they want to play a d4 opening or if they want to stick with the English. No, they've played this line. This is a lot of fun. All right, here we go. e5, d4, takes is usually played. If they take on g7, I take on d2 with check. But normally players take on c3 with the pawn on b2, but no, they've gone for it. All right. Check. Queen takes as a move, but I generally think that white has maybe a slight disadvantage, you know. With the trade of queens, black actually has a better bishop on g7. Bishop takes d2 is I think the slightly more popular move, but I still like my bishop. I mean, unless they don't know this line at all and they're simply, you know, playing something aggressive. But yeah, this is a nice position for black. I've played this as white a few times, but I've normally taken on c3. Oh wow, and they are letting me take on b2. Oh, that one. It feels like some sort of gambit, and I don't know this at all. I mean, in a way, it can't be right to give me that pawn. But in another way, am I good enough to actually, you know, punish them for it? All right. Let's see what they have in store for me. Rook b1 and bishop back to g7. No, queen. Oh wow, full of surprises. Okay, oh no, they resigned. All right. Well, with that ending the game in a very strange manner, I guess I will finish the video here. For 6th place with grand total of 6 wins in a row. It's a good score for me. And I hope you enjoyed the matches. See you next time. Bye.